So many of us, dream of being our own boss, shaping our own path, especially in a tough field like law. But if you're a lawyer, actually starting your own firm, it can feel like a total mystery. Definitely not something they teach you in law school. Today, we're doing a deep dive into exactly that: how to start and, importantly, grow your own law firm, turning that dream into, well, reality.
Yeah, and our insights today come from a really unique source. It's a book called Updated: How to Start a Law Firm.
Mm-hmm.
It's co-authored by Miller Leonard. He's a lawyer, started two firms himself, so he's been there, and Cooper Saunders, who's like a top digital marketing guy, specifically for law firms.
That's a great combo. So you get both sides, right? The lawyer's perspective and the marketing know-how.
Exactly. It's a really holistic view,
Yeah.
from the day-to-day legal practice stuff to the, cutting-edge ways to actually get clients in the door.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive is pretty clear. Cut through all the noise and give you solid, actionable ideas. We're going to unpack the big steps: finding your motivation, getting clients, all that good stuff. We want you to get the knowledge quickly, but properly without feeling totally overwhelmed. Okay, let's jump in.
Right. So often when you think about starting a business, you go straight to like the practical stuff, logistics.
Hmm.
But this book, it starts somewhere different. It talks about mindset, this idea of a scarcity mindset versus an abundance mindset. It sounds a bit, well, business jargony. But for lawyers who are often in such a competitive space, what's the real shift here? What does that actually mean?
That's a great question. It's actually super practical. The scarcity mindset. Well, it can make you afraid to invest, afraid of competitors, maybe even afraid to charge what you're worth. An abundance mindset, like the book describes, is about seeing opportunity. It lets you invest in growth, build partnerships. It's really the foundation you need if you're going to run your own show.
Okay, so it's about belief unlocking action. Precisely. And tied right into that is finding your personal why. Your core reason for doing this. The authors are really emphatic about this. They say, and I'm quoting here, please write it down. Think about it. This is the bottom level of the foundation of your law firm.
Wow. So your why isn't just like a feel-good thing. It's actually a strategic tool. How would that play out? Can you give an example?
Oh, definitely. Let's say your why is maybe providing really top-notch legal help, but still having a good work-life balance, unlike the big firm grind you left. Okay, so that why immediately tells you things. Maybe you choose a location with a shorter commute. Maybe you set up billing practices that are efficient but fair. You'd hire people who also value that balance. See? It guides decisions.
Makes sense. It's the filter for everything else. And what about when to do it? When's the right time? Because, yeah, law school teaches you law, not business.
Right, big gap there. The book suggests generally around 3 to 7 years of practice before starting your own firm. That usually gives you enough time to have handled cases, soup to nuts, independently. But it can definitely vary by practice area.
So, not straight out of law school, usually.
Probably not ideal for most. But the key thing is, even if you're a new lawyer or still in school, start learning the business side now. Read books like this one. You don't have to implement it all tomorrow. Just start absorbing it.
And part of that early work involves relationships, right?
Yeah.
Networking. The book seems very practical about this, too.
Absolutely. Law is a service industry. Fundamentally, it's built on relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And you need your own network, not just the one from your current job. A really varied one. The advice is simple but powerful. Get a plan. Any plan is better than no plan.
So, like, what kind of plan?
Could be super simple. Like, commit to contacting one person on LinkedIn each week or attending one relevant event a month. The key is consistency. View it as a long-term asset you're building. And here's a good tip from the book. Network with people you actually like at events you enjoy. Makes it way less of a chore.
Good point. If it's not painful, you'll actually do it. Okay, let's talk foundations. Location? I always kind of pictured needing to be downtown in a big city, but the book, it pushes back on that.
It really does. It's quite counterintuitive. The author suggests looking seriously at mid-sized or even smaller communities. Big cities often mean tons of lawyers, right? Huge competition. Smaller markets might have fewer lawyers, maybe a lot, who are nearing retirement.
Ah, a zone of opportunity, as they put it.
Exactly. Plus, lower living costs, often less competition, and you can become known in the community faster. And with technology now, you don't need a massive physical law library like you used to. That levels the playing field for smaller markets.
Interesting. Though I guess some specialties have to be in big cities.
Oh, for sure. You got to be realistic about your practice area.
Yeah.
Some types of law just don't exist outside major hubs.
Right. Okay, location sorted. What about the actual office? That image of the fancy wood-paneled lawyer's office? Is that outdated?
The book argues it often is, yeah. The main focus should be keeping recurring expenses low, especially when you're starting out. So maybe share space in an existing firm. That can bring in work too, potentially. Or use a virtual office for a while.
What should you look for if you do share space?
Good question. You need to know what's included. Copying, reception, use of conference rooms. What about phones, internet? How easy is access? And think about your clients. Does a super fancy office make them feel confident, or does it make them think you're just charging them a fortune?
Yeah, perception matters. Okay, naming the firm. This was fascinating. Not just putting your own name on the door anymore.
Apparently not always the best move. People find lawyers online now, not just through referrals. So the book strongly suggests descriptive names, like Springfield DUI Defense Lawyers or Austin Estate Planning Group. Tells people exactly what you do right away.
Builds trust, creates an advantage.
And here's the kicker, the real game changer, including your practice area and your city in the official firm name. So like Chattanooga Criminal Defense Law Group. The book says this gives you a huge advantage on Google Maps in that local pack where, honestly, most leads come from these days.
Because it matches what people are searching for.
Exactly. And it avoids breaking Google's rules about trying to stuff keywords where they don't belong. It's just your actual business name.
Wow, and the numbers they shared. I mean, ranking first for the right search terms in a city like Chattanooga.
Yeah, 3,000 searches a month,
Yeah.
potentially 1,500 leads from that. If you close 20% at, say, $5,000 a case.
You're looking at $50,000 to $100,000 a month, just from a smart name and good ranking. That's incredible.
It really shows the power of strategic naming. And when you pick a website domain, be creative if your first choice is gone. Don't, spend a fortune on some generic keyword domain name.
Got it. Anything else foundational?
Yes, the team aspect. Law is a profession, sure, but running a firm is a business. The book says business is a team spot. You're probably not a business expert. Admit it. Leverage your team paralegals, assistants, maybe marketers. And the boring but crucial stuff, insurance. Malpractice is a must, probably premise liability too. Check with your state bar for good options.
Right, cover your bases. Okay, foundation laid. Now, how do we get clients? All right, the foundations are there. Now, the engine, getting clients. The book talks about three main pillars, right? Networking, referrals, and marketing.
Yep, those are the core three. Networking, we touched on that. It's the long game, builds relationships, makes you better at explaining your value to, keep it consistent, mix lawyers and non-lawyers.
And referrals, they seem like the golden ticket.
They often are your best leads, yeah, because there's built-in trust from whoever referred them. But they're not free. They come from your networking and your reputation. And crucially, they're not guaranteed wins. You still have to sell yourself, show you can solve their problem. Need a system to handle those referrals really carefully.
Okay, and then pillar 3, marketing. The untapped gold mine, they call it. What's key here?
Well, first, you need an online presence, which we'll get into. But the absolute critical piece, so many firms miss, a system to actually handle the leads that come in from marketing. They're just like leaving money on the table, as the book says. If leads call and no one answers, or emails get lost.
So it's not just about generating leads, it's about converting them. How do you figure out if your marketing is actually working? The ROI.
The book gives a simple framework. Look at your marketing budget. How many leads does it bring in each month? What's your average case value? Let's say $3,500. Then you calculate. How many cases do you need just to break even on that marketing spend? How many to make a decent profit? How many for a really great ROI, like 7x or 10x?
And speed is critical here.
Absolutely essential. You need a way to talk to those leads immediately or almost immediately, like within minutes if possible. If someone's searching for a lawyer online, they're likely contacting multiple firms. First responder often gets the client.
That leads to a tough point the book makes. You are a commodity. Oof. That must sting for lawyers who pride themselves on expertise. How do you deal with that idea?
It is tough, but it's about perspective. You're providing a service like a plumber or an electrician. People have choices. The way you reconcile it isn't by devaluing your skills. It's by recognizing that your responsiveness, your client experience, your process, that's where you differentiate yourself, especially early on. Makes it easy for them to hire you. Be fast, be efficient. That's how you win, even if the underlying legal need is something other lawyers could technically handle.
So commodity and service, but differentiator and experience.
Exactly. One of the authors, Miller Leonard, talks very openly about his own mistakes when he first started, just kind of leaping blindly, he says, wishing he'd had a guide like this book to set up those systems from the get-go.
Lesson learned the hard way, sounds like.
Right.
Okay, let's dig into building that digital presence, that online foundation. All right, the digital empire. The book uses that skyscraper analogy again. You need a solid online foundation for growth. What are the core building blocks?
It starts with those niches we talked about. Practice area, riches are in the niches. Stick to what you know and do well. And location, find that sweet spot. Enough potential clients, but not insane competition. Be the big fish in a small pond.
Mhm.
Avoid trying to rank in like Houston or LA right away unless you have a massive budget.
Mhm.
They mentioned a firm in Plano, Texas, smaller market near Dallas that hit 7 figures in a year by being strategic about location.
Wow, okay, niche down. Then we have the firm name again, branding, photos.
Yeah, the descriptive name for Google ranking, super important. Can't stress that enough. Branding, don't overthink it. Simple, professional is fine. Use Upwork or Fiverr for a logo, maybe $50. But do get good photos. Professional headshots are a must. And maybe some action shots, you meeting with a client, staged obviously, working at your desk. For the website, social media, makes you look real.
Makes sense, connects with people. Now, the book drops what it calls one of the most important tips. Everyone is in sales. Tell me more about that.
This is huge. You, the lawyer, are in sales.
Hmm.
Your receptionist, sales. Your paralegal who talks to clients, sales. Anyone who interacts with a potential or current client is shaping their perception of the firm. There's this wild story in the book. A firm was losing like 150 calls a month
What?
because the
Oh,
receptionist's voicemail was always full, and apparently she was kind of rude when she did answer. There's potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars lost because the first point of contact was terrible.
that's brutal. So if lawyers feel weird about the sales idea, how do they embrace it? And how do you avoid
Yeah.
that happening?
It's about changing the frame. Sales isn't about being pushy. It's about helping people solve their problems, building trust from that very first interaction. The book recommends some classic sales books like Brian Tracy's stuff, but honestly, the most practical tip, mystery shop your own firm.
Call yourself.
Yeah, or have a friend do it. See what happens. How's the phone answered? How quickly does someone respond to a web form? Is the voicemail message professional? You might be surprised what you find.
That's a great practical tip. Okay, so we've got the mindset, the name, the look. The absolute cornerstone online seems to be the Google Business Profile, right?
Gre-
GBP.
Massively important. You have to get this right. First, you need that physical address in your target city. Co-working space, virtual office is usually okay. P.O. Box, no go. Set it up on business.google.com. Google will verify you may be a video call, email, sometimes phone, then optimize it.
Yeah.
Look at your competitors' profiles. Choose the right main category for your firm. Write a detailed business description. Use all 750 characters they give you. Pack it with relevant keywords about what you do and where.
Keywords in the description. Okay.
Yeah. Make sure contact info is perfect. Maybe use call tracking numbers to see where calls come from. Match your business hours exactly to what's on your website. And think about listing 24/7 if you have an answering service. Google actually prefers showing businesses that are open. Photos are huge here too. Good cover photo, logo size right, 500 by 500 pixels is good. Pictures of your office inside and out, first impression. And keep it active. Post short updates like little blog posts once a week maybe. Shows Google you're engaged.
And reviews. We talked about trust. Reviews seem key for GBP too.
Absolutely critical. Huge ranking factor. Plus they convert lookers into callers. The book suggests getting maybe 20 initial reviews from friends, family, colleagues who know your work ethic. Then aim for a steady stream, 1 or 2 new reviews from actual clients each month. Consistency is key.
Okay, GBP dialed in, people find you, they click, they land on your website. What's the philosophy there? The book warns against getting too fancy or expensive.
Yeah, definitely. Don't spend $20,000 on a website that looks amazing but doesn't actually convert visitors. The website has 2 simple jobs. Rank well in search and turn traffic into leads. That's it. Keep it simple. Make it easy for people to do what you want them to do.
Which is usually?
Call you or fill out a contact form. Make that super obvious. You need the basic pages. Home, About Us, pages for each specific practice area you handle, contact, testimonials, maybe a blog, and that About Us page, really important. It's often the second most visited page after the home page.
Why? What are people looking for there?
They want to know who you are. Can they trust you? Do they connect with you? The book actually gives a 7-step framework for it. It includes your story, your values, who's on the team, with photos, why you started the firm, maybe you saw something wrong with how big firms operate, proof you get results, testimonials, your firm's voice, a clear call to action, and pictures of your office. Basically, open up and connect with them, the book says. Show them you are a real person trying to help.
That makes sense. Build that human connection. What else online helps build trust? That social proof.
Sprinkle reviews, testimonials, video if you can get them. and case results throughout your site. Also, set up basic social media profiles, Facebook, LinkedIn for sure, maybe Instagram or YouTube, depending on your practice. Link everything together, post occasionally, maybe 2, 3 times a week. Just shows activity. And claim your listings on the main local directories, Yelp, Apple Maps, Bing Places. Just the free listings. Don't worry about paying them. Same for legal directories like Avvo or Justia. Get the free profile, skip the expensive upgrades for now.
Okay, lots of moving parts online. How do you keep track of all the leads coming in from these different places?
Crucial question. You need a CRM, Customer Relationship
Maybe.
Management System. The book calls it Essential. It's basically software to track every lead, where they came from, what stage they're at in your process. No more lost sticky notes or messy spreadsheets. There are legal specific ones like CleoGrow or Lawmatics, or general ones like HubSpot work too.
So the CRM manages the intake. What about nurturing leads who aren't ready to hire right away?
That's where email marketing comes in. Not everyone hires on the first call, right? Email lets you stay in touch, build more trust, share helpful info related to your practice area. It keeps you omnipresent, as the book puts it. Tools like MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, ConvertKit are popular for this.
Omnipresent. I like that. But with all this online stuff, website, GBP, social, email, there's got to be a big final checkpoint, right? Especially for lawyers.
Absolutely. Cannot skip this. Check your state bar's advertising rules before you publish anything. Website copy, blog posts, ads, GBP description, everything. Get it right from the start.
Compliance first, always. Okay, let's talk about pouring some fuel on the fire, paid marketing and referral strategies. Okay, digital foundation is solid now. How do we accelerate? Paid marketing is often the first thing people think of. The book says it can be powerful, but also frustrating.
Yeah, it can be both. If you do it right, it's amazing for growth. Do it wrong, and you just burn cash. Google Ads, or pay-per-click, PPC, is usually the focus. The book calls it the fastest way to generate leads because you're reaching people who are actively searching for a lawyer right now. High intent.
So that myth that Google Ads don't work for lawyers,
No.
it's just wrong.
Mostly, yeah. According to the book, failures usually come down to bad setup, not spending enough to get meaningful data, or just not giving it enough time and attention. It's not the platform itself. The key to winning with Google Ads is understanding something called quality score.
Quality score, what's that?
Think of it like Google grading your ad's relevance. How well does your ad text match the keywords you're bidding on? How well does your keyword match what the person actually searched for? And critically, does the landing page they click through to actually match what the ad promised? A high-quality score tells Google your ads are relevant and helpful, and Google rewards you for that by charging you less per click.
So better relevance means cheaper clicks, potentially more leads for your budget.
Exactly. It's crucial. And PPC isn't something you just set up and forget. You got to be in there tweaking bids, adding negative keywords, searches you don't want to show up for, monitoring performance, ideally daily, especially at first.
Okay, so PPC for fast leads but needs management. What about the slower burn, the referral strategy? The book calls it a long-term gold mine.
It really can be.
Yeah.
Takes more time and effort up front, but it diversifies where your business comes from, which is super important. The advice is to create a dream referral list. Think, who are the top 3 or 4 types of professionals who are most likely to encounter people who need your specific legal services?
So for that estate planning lawyer example,
Yeah.
maybe financial advisors, accountants?
Perfect. Financial advisors, accountants, wealth managers, maybe even other lawyers in different fields, like family law attorneys. The goal isn't quantity here, it's quality relationships. The book says even if you get just 10 solid referral partners sending you just 1 client each per month, that can totally change your firm's trajectory. Some
Yeah.
firms get 30, 40 great referrals a month from just a handful of key partners.
Wow. How do you build those relationships? It can't just be asking for business.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
You need a list of potentials, maybe 50 or 100 to start. Try to get warm introductions if you can. And you have to think about what's in it for them. Why should they refer clients to you? How does it benefit them or their clients? Build a real relationship. There's a funny story in the book. One of the authors sent a New York Islanders coffee mug to a potential referral partner who was a huge fan but tough to connect with. That little gesture opened the door, led to tons of referrals over the years.
Sometimes it's the personal touch.
It really is. And be persistent, politely. People might start sending you referrals when their current go-to lawyer retires or messes up. You want to be top of mind when that happens.
Makes sense. Be there. Build the relationship. What about social media ads? Should new firms be pouring money into Facebook or Instagram ads?
The book's advice for new firms is actually Ignore social media ads for getting immediate clients.
Really, ignore them.
For direct lead generation, yeah. It's seen as a more long-term strategy. People scrolling Facebook usually aren't looking for a lawyer right that second. If you are going to use social media actively, the suggestion is to use it to build your email list. Offer a free guide, a checklist, something valuable related to your practice area in exchange for an email address. Then, nurture those leads via email, maybe use some retargeting ads later. But don't expect random people seeing your ad on Instagram to just pick up the phone and hire you on the spot. It's a different kind of platform.
Interesting distinction. Okay, we've covered the foundations, the engine. Now let's talk about the big picture, the grand strategy. All right, the final section, the grand strategy. The book has a bonus chapter that talks about how success leaves clues. It connects starting a law firm to like Alexander the Great and Starbucks. What's the link there?
It sounds kind of grand, I know. But the point is that successful people and organizations throughout history tend to have a clear, long-term vision. It ties into what makes us human, our ability to use language and reason to plan, to see into the future, learn from the past, something animals can't do. But the authors argue that most people today are just kind of drifting, no real long-term plan guiding them.
Okay, so how does this apply to a law firm? What's the difference between this grand strategy and just, the tactics we've been talking about, like running Google ads or networking?
Great question. They're very different. Tactics are the steps. Grand strategy is the destination. The grand strategy is your ultimate massive long-term goal, something that maybe even scares you a little bit when you say it out loud.
Yeah.
Like maybe for that family law firm, it's not just get more clients, it's become the #1 most trusted family law resource in the entire state within 7 years. Or build a $10 million firm focused on collaborative divorce. It's big.
Okay, so it's the North Star.
It's exactly. Alexander wanted to rule the known world. Elon Musk laid out Tesla's whole master plan back in 2006. That's grand strategy. Then comes the foundation, setting up the stable base, your systems, your team, your finances, so the tactical steps don't fall apart. And then come the tactical rocks, the specific things you do, like optimizing your GBP, running PPC ads, building referral relationships, all chosen because they move you toward that big grand strategy goal.
So focusing only on tactics without that bigger vision, that's dangerous. The book uses a casino analogy.
Yeah, it's a powerful analogy. Focusing only on short-term tactical wins, like getting a few cheap clicks today, cutting your price to win one case, it's like playing slots. You get little dopamine hits, but without a bigger strategy for winning or knowing when to walk away, you eventually lose. It can lead firms to just constantly react, slash prices, make desperate moves, and eventually it all comes crashing down. But when you combine that big strategic vision with smart tactics that serve the vision, that's when you can really dominate your market, charge what you're worth, and build something lasting.
Makes total sense. Strategy dictates tactics, not the other way around. Finally, the book talks about the mindset needed to actually do all this, the gas in the tank.
Right. You need the motivation to see it through. Part of that is pushing past any feelings that wanting success or abundance is somehow selfish. The book really encourages embracing the idea that you deserve to build a great practice in life. And a huge part of protecting that mindset is filtering who you take advice from.
Ah, yeah. Don't take criticism from people you wouldn't ask for advice.
Exactly. Why listen to your broke cousin tell you your business idea is dumb? Or let negative friends drag you down. Be really selective about whose opinions you let in. The book even quotes that old poem, The Man Who Thinks He Can, emphasizing how much starts with your own belief and state of mind. Ultimately, the authors say the difference between success and failure often comes down to that ability to see the bigger picture, the grand strategy, and then creating and executing a plan to get there.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot to unpack. We've
Yeah.
really covered the whole journey from finding that initial why all the way to building a sustainable, growing firm with a long-term vision. It's not just about being a good lawyer, it's about being a smart business owner.
Absolutely. Thinking back to that casino analogy, the source makes another interesting point. Casinos don't just let people lose constantly,
Right.
or no one would come back. They actually plan the customer's experience flawlessly to create that excitement, those little wins that keep people engaged.
So, as a final thought for everyone listening, as you're building your firm or maybe recenting your current one, how are you designing your client's experience? Is it just about those short-term tactical hits, landing the client, closing the case? Or are you consciously crafting an experience every step aligned with your bigger grand strategy that builds deep trust and loyalty for the long haul? Something to think about. Seems like the long game. Well, that's where the real win is.